Hey, everybody. It's Julie at Love's Beginning. And the idea I was given to talk about today is be meticulous in your grooming, which is funny because that's not really, aside from the basics, a huge concern for me. But it's about the mind, it's about what I'm allowing into the mind and to what am I allowing to look myself to look at and see is real. And I just had an experience prior to turning this on that made that apparent to me. I was talking to my husband about um, Washington and the Capitol and events and the president and social media and all of the things attached to that, to those concepts right now, and realizing I don't have a leg to stand on because wherever I try to lean and be on one side or another or have an opinion or even an observation, it feels like I'm leaning on rotten wood. Like I have nothing. I have not a leg to stand on. I don't the information that, let's say I'm given information, I draw a conclusion from it and then a judgment. It's just so apparent that that is nothing. That is nothing. But there's something to rely on, and that is what is real. And when I'm allowing that to be very obvious to me, that there is one being, and that one being is everybody, and everything else piled on top of that is a facade, is a charade. And not only that, not only is it unreal and a charade, but it came at my request, then how could I possibly say anything about it that would mean anything? But the thing that has all the meaning, the oneness of us, the beauty of that, the brightness, that which can shine through everything, that which needs none of my opinions to be what it is. It has always been what it is. For that to be in the foreground, shining brightly enough for me to realize I don't have a leg to stand on if I'm trying to have an opinion. That's that's nice because that's our support, and it's very helpful to us moment to moment. It conversationally, it might be awkward and funny because if you're trying to have a conversation, you realize you don't really know anything about anything, despite what everybody around you seems to be saying. You don't know that people are lying, in that sense. You don't know that people are telling the truth because there really is no truth or lie. It's all relative, it's all a projection. So, what can you do except show up and appreciate? Um, it's funny because I'll take one or two steps into having an opinion, and politically, at least, but politically it's been my teacher. I realize, oh my goodness, I don't know anything. Now if you're asking me about food preferences and taste, I'll think I know something and I'll think that's real. But politically, that's been a good teacher for me because it's very apparent I do not know. And in a very good way, in a way that brings my attention to what can be known, what can be remembered, that there is only one of us, and that all the drama on the surface came at my request, and that I am not here to analyze any of it. That's not the way out. Analyzing it and treating it as real is not the way out. So, one of the statements that came to me was, what are you going to allow into your mind to grow or fester? So first it was kind of like, ew, why are you giving me fester? But I get it, because there's that binary. There's either grow or fester. Fester's kind of like you turn in on yourself. You don't feel meaningful connection with everybody all at once, not just like a certain group who has your opinion. That growth, that growing is extension of love, of really seeing what's already there, our connectedness with every being across time and space, our connectedness with everything that is, our being able to see that there really is only one thing. Or festering, if it's just staying in one place, these ideas and ideas building upon other ideas, compounding, and opinions growing. They might seem to network and be exchanged between people, but the people level is the drama level, is the unreal level, is what takes my attention away from what is this vast connectedness. So that binary of like growing, extending, or festering in place, the turning inward, the blocking out, was a helpful image for me. And I can really feel it now when it's in my mind. Maybe not if I'm talking about what chocolate is better. No, I'll still have an opinion. But when it's politics, I can really feel that. So everything that seems to be troublesome, outrageous in the world, even dangerous, is our teacher. And some things seem to be better teachers than others. You know, the things that seem to be trivial or close to us, we'll still hold on to our opinions and we'll think they're real and they're important. But other things can be very effective teachers because they seem to be further away and they seem to be bigger. And they can really show us that about the drama, about the relative drama of the back and forth, we truly don't know. But it's okay because as we admit we don't know, what comes into view is that guidance, that light that really does take care of everything for everybody. So there's something to trust in. We're not left powerless or alone. We're left very connected. Um, so recently I've been laughing a lot because I was reading Ali Brosh's Solutions and Other Problems. And if I remember, I'll link it in the description. And a thought I had about it was that just slaughtered me with laughter. And I mean, I was just helpless, just crying, laughing, snorting, because she just has a certain way of expressing herself through art and through her essays that just, it kills me. You know, people say, "You're killing me." And I realize people say, "You're killing me," with laughter. They'll also say when they're very irritated, "You're killing me." So I was looking at this me and thinking, oh, that's what's being killed. That's what's washing away. That's what's fading when we're in the middle of this laughter and this like contraction and expansion. That sense of separate me just isn't even there. We're just caught up in this feeling, and that sense of me isn't there. And when we're being irritated, we're being given that same opportunity, contraction, expansion. For that, it's like this washing, for this me to be washed away. And if the me is being washed away, then the you is a separate one. You who are this way or that way, you who have done right or you who have done wrong, you who has this positive quality or you who has this negative quality, all that just gets washed away. And when all the details get washed away, then the clarity is just sitting there, then the happiness is just sitting there, and it's very accessible. So I just was brought into that appreciation of how spirit uses everything. And the image I'm often given about laughing and crying is of a tube of toothpaste, like the stuff that we hold on to that blocks us from knowing ourselves is like the toothpaste in the tube. And when you're in that contraction expansion of laughing or crying, the toothpaste gets squeezed out of the tube and you don't put it back in. It doesn't go back in. It's hard to put toothpaste back into a tube. So like that's a beneficial squeezing out. So no matter what the context, just to allow the laughing, the crying, whatever it is, whether it appears to be positive or negative, it's always a service. Then the other thing that came through was, again, the idea that spirit uses everything and there's no need to cower ever or cringe ever about anything because spirit uses everything that seems to have real existence. Seems to have real existence. That's just hitting me over the head a lot lately, that when you see something out there in the world or right in front of you in what you call your daily life, and it doesn't sit right in some way, to know that Spirit will just use it. Anything. If, as long as you don't put your opinions and decisions in front of Spirit's use of it. This is a bad thing. This is a good thing. This is a wanted thing. This is an unwanted thing. This should be happening in the world. This shouldn't be happening in the world. This is a great thing in the world. This is a terrible thing in the world. As long as I don't put my opinions in front of what I think that separate thing is, Spirit will use it. And then we'll discover later how Spirit used it as a symbol to help us look at it, and in the process to help us let go of the thinking that isn't true for us and has never been ours. And we're having these experiences because we make them up. We think them. We think, then we experience. We think, then we experience. And whenever we're looking out there in the world and we're thinking that group of people over there is really fill in the blank, we totally forget that we think, then we experience. We're experiencing them. And that was rooted in our thoughts. So it's always good to come back to that and sit in it and look at it, and just go into the place of willingness. Let this be used. If my attention should be on it, then let it be used in such a way that I let go of what I don't need and I allow in what's here for me. Or if my attention shouldn't be on it, then, turn my head that way and let all of this be used. So I'm looking at what I need to look at. Oh my goodness. So the, the last thing, I made notes for myself, and I can see why, because this is something I don't want to talk about. It felt very clear that it was given to me. So I'm going to. So I was told that look at the idea of controlling the weight and the shape of the body. So if I were to analyze this, it would not fit into any ideal at all. So, and it'd be associated, analysis of this would be associated with pain or shame or guilt, or, the idea of failure, or it's a mess. And it's a mess that I work on. I'm not saying the body is the mess. I'm saying all the thinking I've become aware of about the body is, whoa, there's a lot there. But if I'm willing to have all that cleared out, that's very helpful. So this January, it seems to be the month when the whole world has decided I'm going to take control of the body. And if I force, is that too harsh a word? Let's use force for now. If I force the body into an ideal shape, or I force the body to an ideal weight, or I force the body into a reflection of what I label as health, then I can be happy. So it's a future focus. And so what I feel like I'm really being given is the idea of dropping the future focus and dropping the control over perceived separate things. It's so tempting. It's so tempting to have a carrot dangled in front of you, to have the ideal presented to you, and to have the ego tell you, if you get this form, you will be happy. And then you think, oh yes, I better try hard to make this form come to be. Otherwise, I'm not doing a good job of being a good human, and I won't be happy. So all I can say about that is there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. Spirit can use all of it, and that's what I'm about. It's funny when I say that's what I'm about. I feel like I'm more and more focused toward allowing Spirit to come in and handle it. At the same time, if I have to say that's what I'm about, then I'm obviously still resisting. Otherwise, this wouldn't even be a thing. So everywhere I'm resisting, I remember more quickly to go into that willingness to allow Spirit to arrange the furniture of the mind, that it's not up to a separate one to arrange the furniture of the mind, because there is no separate one. That's problematic. If no separate one exists, you probably don't want to trust that one to arrange the furniture of the mind, because none of the separate ones is sane. The separate ones are insane, but the one of us is sane, and the one of us can be allowed to shine through everybody, everyone we experience, everyone we think of, everyone we speak of, everyone we talk to, everyone we seem to see with our eyes, every situation, everything, every separate thing we seem to see as a symbol, and spirit can shine through that too. So it's there's such an opportunity to give everything to the sanity, give everything, all of perception, to the sanity, and allow the sanity to handle it. And the part I love about that is, if you think you see somebody in the world who's insane, and that one isn't you, I am this, and there's that one over there, and that one over there is insane. When you give all of perception to the sanity to handle it for you, you're giving all of perception to your perceived enemy, because your perceived enemy is you. It's me. There's only one of us, and the one of us has all these different disguises and keeps taking all these different forms. And to know deep down the goodness without opposite that everyone is, and to realize you're giving perception, control over perception, to all of us, to the one of us, to what is real. That there's nothing I find more reassuring than that these days. So that is where I eventually remember to return. And I'm sitting here with you, and thanks for being here with me